As promised, let's review the Hume Health Body Composition Scale. Is it worth the hype? Hello, I'm Dr. Sam, this is Dr. Sam's Health, and as promised in my previous video, I'm going to do a consumer review of this hyped up body composition scale made by Hume Health. I am a lucky owner of one, and I would like to talk about it in detail, the good, the bad, the ugly, and whether I would recommend anyone getting it or not. Before I proceed, I would like to make my regular disclaimers, which are, first of all, I'm a medical doctor, but I don't give any kind of medical advice here on YouTube, on my website, drsamshealth.com, or even in my book, The Rational Diet. Also, I express my opinions, which are solely mine. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of my government bodies, my colleges, my universities, my profession. I'm a psychiatrist. And the last thing I would like to say is that there is no financial conflict of interest. I'm not trying to advertise this company. I didn't get any money, any feedback from them, or any kind of points to make. I literally bought this scale for my personal use, and I would like to share my thoughts on it based on my own experiences. So, without further ado, let's talk about the scale itself. First of all, how did I even end up having a scale like that, buying one? So there are several reasons. Reason number one, I'm an uber nerd. I like new gadgets. Reason number two, I've been talking about different scales. I owned quite a few scales. I actually had access to industrial or professional grade body composition scales. And in my previous video, when I was talking about the scales, I recommended that if you get a scale, you get a scale with multiple electrodes. So there are some for feet and some for hands. And when you have all of this connectivity, essentially that 4 points of contact, and the scale technically is able to run electrical current through different directions or avenues throughout your body, different circuits. And based on that, it should be able to evaluate your segmental lean development. And that is true for, say, professional grade in-body scale, and for some reason it's not true for the consumer level in-body scale. I spoke about it in my last video. The last thing is, since I'm very interested in this subject, I started receiving a lot of promotional suggestions on Instagram, on Facebook about this scale. They promoted it very heavily. It's a relatively expensive scale. I think I spent around over 300 US on this scale. And what they do is they essentially tell you that you can get segmental lean development. It's a high-end body composition scale. They even compare it to industrial grade, to their competitors, and so on. It's like so much better. So I couldn't resist the temptation. I got myself one. And today I will tell you exactly how I feel about it. Also, since I have it in my hands, I would like to mention that it does feel like a very premium level device. It has a very solid structure. Despite being lightweight, it gives you very nice heavy feel. Sometimes you just like holding things in your hands, and this one definitely gives you that feel. So it is quite robust. It has a very nice mechanism that allows you to extend this handlebar and it retracts back. Actually, if you noticed, when I had the in-body scale of similar grade in my hands, it was actually very difficult to do something with the cord, because the cord there is kind of messed up. Or at least it looks like that. It doesn't look very neat. This one is of good quality. So on that level, this device is great. The next thing would be the ease of use. So this device is actually very easy to use. You just connect it to your phone. It has an app that you can install. And pretty much as long as the app is on, you step on the scale, take the handlebar in your hands, assume certain position when you're standing with your arms extended, and this device does its magic. It takes, I don't know, 30 seconds or so to do it, and while doing so, it actually asks you not to move, but also it does show you some of the information here on some monitor that you cannot see right now because it's off. by the way, very nicely hidden. So you cannot even tell that there is a monitor there. That is also a nice feature. So you get all the information in the app, which is also one of the good things, but also I I prefer the devices they have some information presented to you in the end of the procedure so that you don't need to use an app. With this one, I don't think I've ever tried doing so. It is heavily invested into using the app. They insist on it. Also, even when I received the package, it didn't have any kind of manual. You had to scan the QR code and it will lead you to the app. So they are trying to hook you up with something that is related to the app. The app itself, plus they have certain plans. I think my device came with 1 year free of premium access. So you've got some subscription options, premium plus. I am not a huge fan of that, just because it's like an additional hook for additional investments, whereas I just prefer buying one thing once and use it for many years from now on. And as the technology evolves, I think we'll have more and more devices that have this subscription model. Not a big fan, but it is what it is. I'm not actually complaining, just saying that my preference is different. So when we get into the app, it shows you, it's actually not very intuitive to use. There are lots of like different tiles, different things to click on, and essentially I'm not being lazy, but this device offers you too many things. I'm actually almost annoyed when I open an app. It gives you some hint that we can provide you with some information if you connect it to, I don't know, Apple Health app in your phone. If you create some account, if you get some subscription, it can give you this and this and that. And it is okay to offer it, but somehow my feeling is that the whole system is designed in such a way that you're like literally funneled, steered towards spending more money in it. Anyhow, when you do some basic logging in and installs on your phone, you got the app, you got the data. So the data are presented in a very funny way, and I cannot say it's like bad. It's just like not something that I prefer. So first of all, they do show you some charts. For example, the chart of my weight, which has been trending down, and you can even like scroll and see different points. So this chart is actually pretty extensive, and they have this chart for pretty much everything. But personally, I haven't been able to locate all the data presented to you in such a way that, say, today is January 5th, but I could like look at, I don't know, November 29th and get all the data that it presents to me right now as of today in some sort of a like easy to grasp form. So that's one problem already. Another thing is that the data, when they are presented here, they are actually presented in a funny way. So there are lots of tiles, and the data, the different indicators are presented in the form of like little tiles. You can click on tile and it will give you some information about your weight, and it will actually explain to you what the indicator means. I will go over them as I'm making this video. So it has some information on your body weight, your body fat percentage, your lean body mass, your BMR, your BMI, your body water percentage, which is nice. That's the first block of indicators. Then it gets to something else, which is body muscle and fat. So it shows you your lean body mass again, and also it shows you something called fat-free mass. And in my case, there is like 4 kilogram difference, and it's literally every day when I'm doing it, there is a discrepancy between these two parameters. I honestly don't know what the difference is, and it just doesn't explain it particularly well. So there is lean mass and there is fat-free mass, which should be exactly the same. So the next thing is it gives you this muscle rate, which is actually similar to the oxyline scale that I showed to you, which costs like 5 times less than this one. And again, this indicator is very weird because it says that my muscle rate is 72.2%. Uh, I don't believe that that is a representation of my body muscle. Like we're talking about skeletal and smooth muscle and cardiac muscle being 72% of my body weight. It's just like impossible. It should be around like 40-50% tops. It gives a description, which is pretty much saying what it is, and it's not clear what it is actually based on what it describes here. I will just read it to you. Muscle rate reflects the percentage of your body comprised of skeletal muscle, responsible for body movements, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. So again, that is what I meant, but it cannot be 72%. Like nobody can have 72% unless maybe you are some sort of a bodybuilder who is cutting and all they have is like lean body mass, muscle, and everything else in their body has shrunk to the point that they don't have any fat, their internal organs are very small, and so on. So I don't think it is a right metric, a proper metric, and that is something that it needs either further clarification or like revision. Also, they note here, please note that this metric is different from muscle rate. I don't know. I literally clicked on muscle rate, so I'm not sure how muscle rate is different from muscle rate. I know it sounds like I'm like rambling here, incoherently, but that's exactly what the app shows to you. So the explanations about the indicators are not particularly clear or well executed here, and certain indicators are kind of questionable. So it also shows you fat mass, fat-free mass. Again, I don't understand what the difference between lean mass and fat-free mass is. It shouldn't be different indicators. Body fat percentage, visceral fat index, which is a very odd index, quite frankly. I will make a special video about visceral fat index. So it's a very odd indicator. I would prefer them just giving me some sort of easy to understand amount, which would be the weight of visceral fat. Also, it gives you subcutaneous fat mass and subcutaneous fat rate. And for future reference, by the way, if you get something that gives you total fat mass and subcutaneous fat mass, you can calculate your visceral fat mass yourself. But I wish this app did it. Then it gives you some biometric analysis. I'm not sure how it's different from the rest, but they give you some protein mass, protein rate, body cell mass, extracellular, intracellular water, inorganic salt content, skeletal mass, resting heart rate, and so on, which is nice. Skeletal mass here it says 11 kilos, which is reasonable amount, but please remember this number, 11 kilos, right? I'll explain why in a second. Then it gives you the body breakdown, and here's a little issue that I have. So again, there are some tiles, and there are 3 indicators for each body part, and they are arranged in the form of like 2 columns. So for something like that, I would prefer a table or maybe like 3 tiles in a row so that you could see, for example, right arm fat mass, right arm fat rate, and right arm muscle mass, because kind of switching, and it's not very intuitively easy to read these numbers. Another odd number that we have here is trunk muscle mass, which is 30 kilograms. Honestly, guys, I weigh 80 plus kilos. I cannot have 30 kilograms of muscle in my trunk. As much as I would love to, I'm pretty sure it's like close to like 10, maybe 12 kilograms. Another odd indicator. Then we get to the health assess, and I'm not making it up. It literally says health assess. I would put assessment there, but okay. Standard weight, I don't know what it means. Skeletal mass, again, they're repeating certain indications. Recommended calorie intake. I kid you not, I will take a screenshot, I'll show it to you. Recommended calorie intake is 0 calories, and my metabolic age is 38. Excellent, thank you. So couple of points based on what I have just seen here is that the app presents information in a very peculiar, finicky way. I don't appreciate it much, but I think for most of the people it will be fine. Also, it gets some not very clear explanations of certain indicators, and certain indicators are giving me some unrealistic uh, data or numbers. The next thing is that as I said before, I would love to have everything in some sort of a tabular form or an ability to export it into Excel, or preferably, or as one of the options, being able to track it back. And there is no option, no obvious option or intuitive option. And I couldn't find one until I decided to delete one of the data points. So when you there is an option of deleting certain weigh-ins. So if I click on delete weigh-in, I actually get the data here in a tabular format for each and every day when I was using this device. And when you click on it, magic, you got all the data here, presented in a nice tabular format. The only problem that I have with that is that the numbers here do not make any sense because they are very different from the numbers that I see in the tiles section. So for example, the weight is the same, body fat percentage is slightly different. It really fluctuates. There is like several percent difference usually. There is a different number for skeletal mass, for example. So as I told you, the tiles section, the main display of my body parameters, set 11.1 kilograms of skeletal mass, which sounds like a reasonable number, but here it says skeletal mass is 3.7 kilograms. Take a screenshot, I'll show it to you. Then many other parameters are slightly different. My metabolic age is 47 here, whereas just like a second ago it was 38. Visceral fat index is here it's 6. In the main display it was 10. It's a huge difference actually. Many other parameters are also different, and I think they have a parameter of skeletal muscle mass. I'm just looking for it right now. So we got lean mass. Yeah, here we go. They also have skeletal muscle mass here, which is 43.4 kilograms, which is a reasonable number for somebody like myself who is relatively muscular, which is close to 50% of my body weight. Previously, it was shown to me that my muscle mass is around 70 kilograms. I must say, just for the sake of fairness, that previously they were talking about muscle mass. Right now they're talking about skeletal muscle mass. So it only includes skeletal muscle. But again and again and again, I don't understand why they present one set of parameters on main display, and at the same time, if you go to some section that most of the people don't even have, shouldn't be accessing, and they present different set of parameters there, and they seem to be very different from what they have been displaying to you. So having said that, what I normally do is I actually do use several scales, and I write down the numbers in Excel spreadsheet that allows me to track my progress across multiple devices, and I literally have data on many years of my physical development. Using this device is not as intuitive or easy as you would expect, and quite frankly, at this point I'm kind of giving up on it just because I'm upset. So say I weigh myself every day, for example, and I wrote down the data from this scale, the data that were presented on the main screen on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Today is Sunday, and I would like to enter the data from Saturday. And when I go to the data based on my Saturday measurement, it will be very different from the data today, and it also will be like the stored data I know for sure is different from what the device would have shown to me on the day when I took this measurement. So this inconsistency is actually quite demotivating, and I don't know which number to trust, what my body fat percentage is based on the scale, just because like it is misrepresented here across different parts of the app. Uh, so that is my main concern, and I actually emailed them within like several days of purchasing this scale. I emailed the company and said that, guys, your device actually gives very odd readings, and they offered me to connect to their engineering team, so that I kid you not, I don't remember the exact wording, but the point was that the engineering team can explain to me why I don't understand it correctly. With all due respect, I think I know a little bit about human anatomy and physiology, and I have good experience with different devices. I know for sure that your device is given some wrong numbers here. And I don't even have to go far, because your device gives different set of numbers depending on where you look. So I told them that, thank you, but thank you. I can consult them if they want to, but I don't think that I appreciate the device. They offered me some discount, and I just agreed to take it, and I'll explain why. Because I don't live in the US. I know, again, it sounds very odd, but the story is you buy something in the US, they ship it to you. There is some price of shipment, and even if many companies, they kind of omit the shipment price or make it like shipment free, if you want to return something, you have to send it back and you have to pay for shipment back. That's the first thing. The second thing, both times there is some sort of tax, uh, customs levy that you have to pay every time you send something overboard. So for me, it would be a waste of money and time, and it would be just easier for me to get like 30% discount or something like this that they gave me on my device, rather than sending it back and getting, I don't know, $100 back uh, out of 300 plus that I have spent on this device. So that's the only reason why I kept it. I keep using it, and I keep being annoyed with the device's kind of accuracy and the way it presents the information. I still hope that maybe they will watch this video and they will be able to actually reach out to me, or just run it by some experts in their engineering team and rectify these things, and give people, the customers, better representation of their body composition. I honestly hope for that. Maybe there'll be some updates, and maybe within the next several months or a year or so, we'll get some updates that will allow you to actually benefit from using the device like that. Having said that, my main question would be, or like statement, whether I would recommend this device to you or not. I think it's quite expensive. I don't think that this lean body development or segmental lean development element of the scale is worth it, quite frankly, because we still rely mostly on total body fat percentage and total amount of muscle mass, total amount of body fat. This segmental lean development is a cool parameter that most of us do not care about enough. And having said that, given that this device gives you quite inaccurate readings, I would go with something that is more reliable and at the same time cheaper. Something like this Oxyline or Omron scales that I've shown to you in my previous video. By the way, if you haven't seen that, check it out. I cannot say I'm very proud of that, but I put some effort into it, and I think I give you a very nice review and breakdown of different scales that you can purchase. Having said that, I think it's time to wrap up this video. I think I've done my due diligence as a consumer by making this review. They actually encourage making reviews, so this one was some sort of a semi-professional review. And I will leave you be. If you like this kind of content, please hit the like button, subscribe, ask questions, make comments. Maybe you have questions about this scale. Maybe you can share some of your experiences with this kind of scale. Also, let me know if you would like me to talk about something else. Again and again and again, any kind of dialogue and communication is always welcome. And check out the book, The Rational Diet. I describe quite a few things about body composition analysis in the book. and give you some practical tips there. And for now, I will wish you all the very best, and I'll work on some other content. See you soon.